welcome to I Got Issues to Say Special Father's Day edition. I'm here at Groom Therapy where we have uncut conversations. I'm here with Maurice, and we're going to talk about the responsibilities, the joys, and the challenges of fatherhood. So as we celebrate Father's Day and all the fathers that's doing it right, we want to inspire the fathers that's doing it wrong. So Maurice, tell me some of the greatest joys of fatherhood.
So, the biggest joy is the fact that I have 6 kids, 3 boys and 3 girls. They are pretty much the lights of my life. They are my it, what I do it for. So
Right.
that's really my biggest joy, to be honest with you.
So your why of building legacy, because when we talk about, and I've just recently started talking about this within the last year, what would my legacy look like? So my why have shifted from being a provider to now providing legacy. That's a different story. So it's one thing to say I can buy you shoes and give you clothes and give you shelter, but now what is the legacy you're walking into? So when you think about legacy and what are you doing now, you have 6 children. What is the legacy you're trying to build for them?
Well, to be honest with you, I had this conversation with somebody a couple days ago. Legacy to me is for them not to have to work for anyone, for them to have to work for themselves,
Right.
for them to have to work for the Miller name, and not really even work for the Miller name, to work for them.
Right.
Um,
Unpack that. When you say the Miller name work for them, what do you mean by that?
I'm an entrepreneur,
Right.
and Groom Therapy is my space of business. And what I mean by that is I work for Groom Therapy.
Right.
Groom Therapy doesn't work for me. Meaning, Groom Therapy is the catalyst of everything that I do. So it's the same thing. Essentially, is what I want for my kids. I want their name to work for them. I want their legacy or my legacy that I build for myself, for my kids to follow them. You know what I'm saying? I think that's more so what it is for me.
Right. So being a black male, man, and we've all, I don't care who you are in this world, even President Obama, but being a black male, we get a bad rap on fatherhood. What are the challenges that you have faced in being a father, man? You got 6 children, so I'm quite sure there were some challenges.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So first of all, with the first 3 of my kids, I was actually in the military when I had them. Mother and I split, obviously, and we just were young. We were young. I was 19 and she was 18, and just being a young father, being in the military, trying to figure it out, being alone by yourself, and then meeting a young lady whose life isn't together, who doesn't understand life herself. And being a 19-year-old, you personally don't really understand life.
Right.
And so you mix that with the coupling with the spirit of wanting to hang out, the spirit of still partying, and just still wanting to live that fast life and hanging out because you're not really an adult yet. You're still trying to figure out your life, and then you throw kids into that. You throw one kid into that, and then at that time I went to Iraq, and I was in the military at the time, and I went to Iraq, and then I thought that was the best way. Me having a child with this young lady was the best way for us to keep our relationship going, which obviously now, I'm 42 years old, I understand that isn't the best way to make a relationship work or to get someone to stay or anything like that. So doing things like that, man, just kind of like going through the ups and downs, the highs and the lows of that, being young, having a kid at a young age, having a kid out of wedlock, having children out of wedlock, not having my own self together, not understanding who I am as a man and the things that I want as a man, and then trying to couple that with trying to raise children and you still being a child.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So personally for me, I've been raising children my whole teenage year, you know what I'm saying? Like my whole life.
Right.
I've been raising children.
But you said something so important because I've seen young men have children and they evade the responsibility.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I've been knowing you for years. You've been cutting my hair when I had hair.
Oh, right.
To the point I don't have nothing but a beard now. You did?
Right.
Nothing but a beard. But ever since I've known you, you have been a present father and in situations fighting for your children to be in their lives. What would you say to the father who is birthing babies but running from the responsibilities of raising those babies?
Man, I got a lot of choice words for people like that, man.
I want to hear this uncut conversation. Come on, this uncut conversation.
So for me, man, I think that is disgusting.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I think those people that put children bring children onto this earth and they don't want to partake in the upbringing of their children, you're just making it harder for everybody else, man.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Unfortunately, man, the jails and the prisons and the graveyards are filled with men and women that didn't have guidance.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And that's what's going on with the world today.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? A lot of these kids are doing this dumb shit. They just don't have the fucking guidance that they're supposed to have to do what they need to do.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And I do blame a lot of the fathers because obviously, you know what I'm saying, I needed my dad. You know what I'm saying? And luckily I had my stepfather to guide me.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So, and I think I attest a lot of the things that I've done in my life to my stepfather's guidance.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So, nah, man, I hate the fact that it's a lot of children out here that don't have the guidance of, you know what I'm saying, a positive male influence, or hell, a male influence, period.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I think that's honestly the world, the dynamics of the world that we live in today, unfortunately.
And you know, I actually learned something today, that the man who I thought was your father is actually a stepfather.
Yeah, that's my stepfather.
Because I've seen him in the barbershop, and when you see y'all interact, you like that's your dad.
Yeah, for sure.
You know what I'm saying?
For sure. Been
so
in my life,
now
whole life.
I'm learning today that's actually stepdad.
Yeah. So Phil Strong is my stepfather. But he raised me.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Right. So, and in the household I grew up in, I didn't call him stepdad. You know what I'm saying? We didn't, that dynamic it didn't exist.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Unfortunately, I had a father that was absent. My dad was absent in my life, because of, situation between him and my mom.
Right.
As I got older, I figured it out. But he was absent in my life, and my stepfather, he was there.
Right.
He grew up with in a large family.
Right.
And his dad was present.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So that's what really focused me to be present to my children.
Right.
Was one, because my flesh father wasn't there.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I promised myself when I was a kid that I was gonna raise my children. Right. You know what I'm saying? I vividly can remember the day that I said that to myself in my room, because I got in trouble and my stepfather spanked me, and I said that I would never not raise my children.
Right.
Not be there for my children.
Right.
Because he couldn't. My dad at that time couldn't hear me cry.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So and that really that did something to me. So I knew that no matter what, hell or hot water, whatever I went through, with whoever I went through it with, I was gonna be the man to stand up in the pain for my kid.
Wow, that's admirable, man. Because so many young men out there, and I've always said this. I've always been with a group of fellas, and if you didn't take care of your kids, we couldn't be partners.
Man,
we couldn't be
shot.
partners. We couldn't be partners, because the thing about it is, how can you say you're a man and you got kids out there, but you don't want to be in your kids' life? We ain't partners.
Hey,
we ain't.
Nah, it's no way.
As the new rap song, they not like us.
Nah, we can't.
I ain't on that.
We
can't be cool.
Nah, we can't even be in the same realm, man.
And so I have a friend. He's a pastor, and well-renowned pastor. And he created all these kids outside of wedlock, and so it's like, let me go and give y'all a couple of dollars, and that's all I want to do. You can't preach Jesus to me.
No, you can't.
And you ain't got no relationship with your children.
Man, I can't. I don't understand that, man. We talked about this before. I forgot what book it is, but what they say. I think they should be tarred and feathered. You know what I'm saying?
Man,
and beat with a whip.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Dude, why you running around here, sticking it in people and having kids and then when it's time for you to, you know, stand up in the paint for them, you ain't there for them. Now I understand dynamics happen. I get how dynamics happen with, you know, males and females, and situations happen where, you know what I'm saying, mom might make it hard, dad might make it hard, but for you just to decide, I'ma just walk the fuck away, you know what I'm saying, and I ain't gotta deal with this. Nah, bro, that's not cool, man.
There's several different situations. You got the situations where, okay, we just didn't work. But I'm not finna forsake the kids that we had.
For sure.
We didn't work.
For sure.
Now, you may try to use the kids against me because of selfish gain. And sometimes men do the same thing. I don't want to be a father if I can't have you. The woman is done with you.
For sure.
But if I can't have you, I ain't going to be a father.
That shit is crazy.
And then the woman be like, you know, well, you know, if you want to have something to do with the kid, you got to have something to do with me. No, we fucked up individuals.
For sure.
But we ain't got to take it out on the kid.
For sure.
Let's raise this kid.
For sure.
You do you.
And I do me.
I do me.
For sure.
But let's raise our kid together.
For sure.
Then there's a situation where, you know, I'm just tricking off.
For sure.
And a baby come out of my non-responsibility because I don't want to wrap up.
For sure.
And so it's a baby there.
Right.
So because I got a whole situation over here, I don't need you to destroy this.
Right.
So I need you and this baby to
move on.
Just
right,
disappear.
Right.
You know,
hey man, it's crazy because I know a lot of guys like that right now.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
That are actually in that particular situation. And I got a client like that. You know what I'm saying? It's actually in that particular situation.
Right.
And I talk to him all the time, and I still tell him, like, bro, at the end of the day, man, you know, you still gotta man up to your responsibility, man, because at the end of the day, that child is gonna grow up to be a father, you know, because it's a boy. That child is gonna grow up to be a father. So are you gonna continue just putting it off? You know, they say what's done in the dark comes to the light. You know what I'm saying? So you gotta just, hey man, you gotta take your lashing, bro. You know what I'm saying? And I think a lot of cats don't want to do that because they're afraid of what that female is gonna say or whatever the case is. But at the end of the day, man, bro, you did it.
You did it.
You know what I'm saying? You did it.
Right.
So since you did it, now you gotta do it.
You gotta do it.
You know what I'm saying?
Say that one more time.
Since you did it, now you gotta do it.
You gotta do it.
You know what I'm saying? And doing it is taking care of your responsibility, man. You know what I'm saying? Making sure that baby is taken well care of, and making sure that that man, that woman is, you know what I'm saying? You ain't got no issues, man. Like, that's the thing.
So the thing about it is this: what's more important to you, in your opinion? What's more important, the relationship? And I guess out of relationship come provision. But some people feel like I can throw money at a problem. They look at kids as a problem because I may be married to somebody else, or something like that. So let me throw money at my problem,
right.
And I'm gonna have a relationship.
Right.
So what's more important to you? Is it relationship? And if you have the real relationship, provision gonna come. But some people, like I said, they want to throw money at them. They call the kid a problem.
Correct.
So in your opinion, and in my experience of you've always said, I need relationship with my children.
For sure.
And with the relationship, it came provision.
For sure.
But there are guys that feel like, let me throw money at this problem, but I don't want a relationship.
So my dad was one of them.
Okay.
My real dad was one of them. He was one of them, I'm going to throw this money at this problem. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm going to just pay this child support and that's it. You know, we don't really need the relationship. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't want to deal with that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So sometimes that's a dynamic though.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Guys just don't want to deal with the bullshit that they got to deal with her.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Which I still feel is unfair.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But she ain't got to make it that hard either.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And sometimes, unfortunately, she is the one that's like, well, I'm going to make it difficult on him. And I'm going to make it difficult on him to be able to be in his child's life. And then so he's like, man, I don't really want to deal with that, man. I'm going to just rather throw her a couple dollars, man, and get her on out my way.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Some guys, like, I've been in that situation before with, you know, my youngest child. You know what I'm saying? You know, I necessarily didn't want to deal with her no more. Right. I didn't want to be around her no more. Right. You know what I'm saying? So I kind of like left it alone. But I realized, like, at the end of the day, that child has still got to grow up without a father. You know what I'm saying? And I'm a mentor. And I'm a mentor to kids, and I talk to a lot of kids, and I deal with a lot of kids. And my biggest thing is I'm realizing that, like, again, a lot of kids' biggest issue, even when I go into the jails, I go into the kids' jails, and I'm talking about like the level 2, level 3 jails, which is the high maximum jails for those kids. A lot of them kids, man, you listen to their stories, and their biggest thing is their dad wasn't around.
But then you said something that triggered something in me. Mm-hmm. So we at the club, we having fun, we drinking, or we see this little chick, she looking good, she got the right body, and now it's time to get intimate. The consequences of a decision. I don't have a condom.
Right.
But I'm finna go up in her.
Oh yeah, I'm slide.
I'm definitely gonna slide.
For sure.
Not understanding that the consequences.
But niggas don't think like that though. I get what you're saying. I already know where you're getting ready to go to with it. But they don't. Man, what they say, what people say, man, they think with the little head and not the big head. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
So at this moment, I want gratification.
I want self-gratification.
So if a baby come out of this, that's your responsibility.
That's your job. That's your job.
You got to figure that shit out.
What my old man say, that baby your problem.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
You got to figure this out at this point. You know what I'm saying?
Right, that baby your problem.
This was just like a moment.
Right.
This wasn't forever for me. This was a moment for me.
Right.
So,
right.
But we leave so many women in a moment.
Right.
Because of our carelessness.
Right.
Now, it go both ways.
It do.
Because she could have said,
nah, hold up.
You need this condom.
Yeah, for sure.
Because it's been time.
For sure.
It's been time. And this is a true state. Because I'm going to open up about this. I know it's part of the conversation. It's about to be wild. I remember at 16 getting gonorrhea.
Oh, shit. Okay.
And I go to my mother.
Uh-huh.
She made me wait the whole weekend.
Yeah.
Before she took me to the doctor.
Yeah.
I'm burning the whole weekend. Think about this now. And I'm like, I ain't never pissed this much in all my life.
Right.
But now I got gonorrhea. I'm burning.
Like a mug.
I'm pissing every 20 minutes.
Right.
So after that, I'm like, I ain't going in nobody wrong no more.
Yeah.
And it was situations where I'm wrapping up.
Yeah.
And the chick like, nah. I'm like, well, I don't want this.
Yeah, for sure.
I don't want this.
For sure.
Cause I remember 16.
Man, so I get it. So in the Navy, I was in the Navy, and this is a crazy story. I was in the Navy, and some partners of mine, they was doing some things you know what I'm saying, we shouldn't have been doing. We met a chick from Florida.
Right.
You know, I'm from Indiana.
Right.
So we met a chick from Florida, and she was hiding the ass.
Shout out to Gary.
She was real hot.
Inside joke, y'all don't know.
Right.
Shout out to Gary.
Right, she was real hot. So, of course, we slid, whatever the case was. And we ended up all popping.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Chief put us in the office and was like, yeah, we ain't gonna do nothing for y'all. You know what I'm saying? Nah, we ain't gonna help y'all.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Nah, we ain't gonna help y'all.
Right.
She was an older chief, you know what I'm saying? She was like, y'all gotta learn that y'all not supposed to be doing that stuff. So we'll see y'all in 2 weeks.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? That was the longest 2 weeks of my life.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That was a long 2 weeks of my life. You know what I'm saying? So, but after that is when I learned, man, you gotta be responsible.
Got to be.
You know what I'm saying? You gotta strap up.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
My kids that I have now, luckily I was in relationships with every last one of them, except my last one. But I was in relationships, like serious relationships with all my children's mothers. Right. You know what I'm saying? And I have wonderful kids, man.
You know, I grew up, I've since come to a place of forgiving and reconciling with my biological father.
Oh,
right?
man.
But I grew up in a place where I thought he just didn't care.
Okay.
So when I had my first son, the motivating factor for me was I never wanted my son to feel rejection from my father.
Oh, wow.
Right?
Wow.
The father that I became was the father I never had.
That's me.
So the father I became.
Yep,
so
father
I never
wanted.
forget, being in the room when my firstborn son was born. It was comical because I fainted. And so they asking about ice and all that stuff, and so his mother thinking they talking to her, they talking to me because I fainted. And even the day that we take him away from the hospital, I'm so excited. I got his car seat, and we put him in the car seat, and I jump in the car and I take off. And I'm not gonna tell my age, but at this time it wasn't no such thing as cell phones. You had the book bag.
Right.
So I get all the way home,
Right.
and I'm getting phone calls.
Uh-huh.
They're like, his mother's still at the hospital.
Oh, wow.
I done packed up Xavier and we out. You did, because I'm so excited about being a father.
Right.
Because for me, I never wanted my son to feel that I didn't want him.
Right.
And so, me and his mother not together.
Uh-huh.
And I remember she called me one night, and he was misbehaving. And he said, she told him, "I'm gonna tell your dad." He said, "I don't care. My dad lived in Florida."
Right.
She called me. And from Jacksonville, Florida to Wilmington, North Carolina is 7 hours. She called me that night. He woke up to an ass whipping.
As he should.
I drove all night to get to him.
As he should.
And as an adult, my son said something to me. He said, "I'll never forget that night," because he said to him, as a youth, that night meant my dad gonna show up.
Right.
That's all. For me,
Right.
that meant I was a great father.
Right.
That's all it took for me.
Right.
He know daddy gonna show up.
Right.
Because I drove throughout the night, and he woke up to an ass whipping.
So for me as a kid, man, my mom and my dad, they didn't really get along too much. And my mom, I can remember this as a kid. Like my mom, her and my dad had their little tumultuous relationship. I used to stay with my aunt.
Right.
Cause my mom was in the Navy too. I used to stay with my aunt, and my dad used to. He was from Virginia, and we was in Indiana. So he used to pop in and out of town, like under the darkness of night. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So he'll pop in town, and he'll call my auntie up and be like, "Hey, can I come see him?"
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So he would drive past the house, call my aunt, and like she'll be like, "Yo, your dad's outside," or "Go outside." And like I just get like 5-10 minutes with my dad, my real father.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I felt like he was on that line of he wanted to be a great father.
Right.
He just didn't know how to be a great father. You know what I'm saying? But he also was still in the party life. He was still hanging out. He was a ladies' man.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? He still wanted to put the women first before he put his kids.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? He still was hanging out. He was doing everything else, keeping himself busy. You know what I'm saying? But now that I'm older, I realized that he was going through depression himself.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? He was dealing with his own demons himself.
Right.
And he didn't know how to still be a father. You know what I'm saying?
That's what helped me forgive my father.
Right.
As you're going through it and you're hearing, and not to speak against mothers, but sometimes mothers' pain, they reflect that on
the children. Yeah.
And so not
A lot of
understanding,
times.
and what helped me forgive my father was he was dealing with some stuff himself.
Right.
And I understood, when I realized the trauma he was going through,
Right.
I understood why he could be a father to me.
Right.
And so that helped me forgive him, and we could move on. But one of the things I admire about you, and this is how I want to close the segment. One of the things I admire about you, that I've known ever since I've known you, you fought for your children.
Oh yeah, for sure.
You never wanted to be an absentee.
Nah, never.
Whether it was a mistake,
Yeah, for sure.
or what,
For sure.
your thing was, I gotta be in my children's life.
And it's a reason for that. My biggest reason for that is because like I said, my oldest boy, he's 21 now. So when she had him, I told her that I was gonna be there, right? His older sister, she's 23 now. She's not my biological child, but I call her my daughter. His older sister, she was in a room in Washington D.C. That's when I was stationed up there. She's from D.C. Her dad got arrested, so he was from D.C. too. He was a young dude. We're probably about the same age. He might have been maybe a year younger than me or so at the time. But I was probably like 22. Maybe 22, maybe 21, 22. But anyway, she went to the house for Father's Day weekend. You know what I'm saying? She went to the house Father's Day weekend, and the dad was suffering through depression. and she woke up to him blowing his brains out in front of her. You know what I'm saying? And he committed suicide that night in front of her. So it did something to her. Obviously, that's life changing right there.
Right.
And that day I told her that I was gonna be in her life forever, but I also understood at that moment that I needed to be I didn't want that to happen to me.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
I didn't want that to be my outcome.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I knew I had to be there for my children.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? No matter what.
Right.
No matter what I went through, no matter how much shit I was into, no matter what it was, I wasn't going to go out like that. I was going to be there for mine. You know what I'm saying? So that right there is what it changed my life.
Right.
It changed her life, but it changed my life. And maybe for the better. You know what I'm saying? It changed mine for the better at that point. Because I always knew no matter how many kids I had, man, I wasn't doing that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So that's what it was for me.
As we close out this segment, I want you to look directly into the camera. Mm-hmm. And it's two people I want you to talk to. Mm-hmm. I want you to talk to the dads who's doing it. Mm-hmm. But I want you to also talk to the dads who ain't doing it. Mm-hmm. And I want you to share your heart with both.
Okay.
Give it to us.
So I'm going to start with the dads that's not doing it, man. Man, listen, man. Y'all got kids running around here that really need you, man. They are in dire straits right now. This is a call of emergency, man. Your children out there, they're hurting. They're sad. They're hungry. They're cold. They're dying inside. They're depressed. And the only person that can stop this or can help them in the physical is you. That's it. You're the only person. You know, I understand that you might not have come from the correct background, or you might not have the correct understandings, or you might not have all the knowledge, but it ain't no fucking manual to this. You know what I'm saying? It ain't. It just ain't. I had to learn it, so you need to learn it, man. What I need you to do is I need you to stand in the paint for your children, love on them, because that love that they have for you is the most undying, unwavering love that you will ever have for yourself. So that's one. And for fathers that's doing it, man, hey, man, I understand how hard it is, man. I understand. I've had those nights where I've cried at night because I couldn't see my child, but I continue to fight. I've had those nights where me and my oldest son were fighting because he wanted to do one thing and I wanted him to do another thing. I've had those nights where I'm afraid that my daughter's going to tell me something that I may not want to hear. I understand where you're coming from, fellas, and I love you and I appreciate it, and I'm going to fight with you to make sure that our kids are in the best situation that they possibly can. We have to realize that our children are being told by other children things that they may not need to know, and it's our job to be there for them so that they can understand what it is that they're supposed to be doing. So, man, I love you. I'm gonna pray for you, and I appreciate you guys for sure.
And there you have it. I got this to say: Groom Therapy, Uncut Conversation, Father's Day edition. Our kids need us. Don't forsake the call. Salute to all the fathers that's doing it, and to all the fathers who's not. Find you a mentor that's going to help you father your children. I got this to say: Happy Father's Day to all the ones that's doing it right.
Happy Father's Day, y'all.